Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Despite having no TV deal, no promoter, and exclaiming he's a free agent, Deontay Wilder won't be considering an offer from Top Rank. It's already been refused. Shelly Finkel, his co-manager, has says they won't be giving Deontay Wilder over to Top Rank and ESPN. That is off the table. It's not going to happen. So let's crack into it. Buckle in. Let's go. So Shelly Finkel, talking to the New Yorker, says, "We did receive an offer from Top Rank which included a multi-fight deal with Deontay. The deal effectively meant signing Deontay over to them and included a purse for a fight before the Tyson Fury rematch. But we didn't want to, and we are not going to, give up our fighter to them. If we wanted to do a fight beforehand, we would do it ourselves." And I guess you can sort of look at that now and go, beforehand, well, before what? Because to me, and I've been saying this in recent days, I just think the likelihood of any rematch is just becoming so remote now. Even though everyone involved in this whole sort of situation is still, publicly at least, saying that they are committed to trying to make a rematch, even though the immediate rematch, which would have been next, has fallen through, that has been confirmed. Everyone is still saying and optimistic to some level that they potentially can get a rematch for later in the year, but I just don't see it. With these promotional considerations for Tyson Fury, where he can only fight on ESPN, and that's got to be at least twice a year, I just can't see it actually happening. And if Deontay Wilder doesn't come over to ESPN in any capacity, because what they were talking about was building these guys ahead of a rematch, having a fight each, all that sort of stuff, to sell it to, ESPN's audience, that sort of stuff, and then potentially the pay-per-view would be able to be built up, and what Bob Arum is talking about, between 1 and 2 million pay-per-view buyers. I've actually heard him sort of put that up to 1.5 to 2 million. So his estimation is that the number is going to be high no matter what, but they have to sell these guys to the fans. And if Deontay Wilder isn't over there in some capacity, being built up to fans, like, the intention is from ESPN and Top Rank, or does that just mean that it diminishes the chances of the rematch happening at all? And I would say it does. I just can't see it's going to happen now. And that is the potential ramification from Tyson Fury signing on to the deal that he has. Even though Tyson Fury and Frank Warren have sort of been trying to absolve themselves from any blame here and talk about, look, we want that rematch next. We wanted it next, but it's out of our hands now. It's up to ESPN and Top Rank. They must have known what was going to happen signing this deal, and I've talked about that in a previous video, so I'll not get back into it. But with this news from Shelly Finkel that absolutely no way that Deontay Wilder is joining Top Rank, and look, why would we hand him over to them? It just seems that any talk of a rematch, maybe it needs to just sort of go away now, because I can't see it happening. But the position of Shelly Finkel, and it is also Deontay Wilder's position, it does raise a number of questions here. One, what happens next with opponents? There was a certain level of trajectory with Deontay Wilder's career, and it seems like that arc of it is just going to slow right down. It will go back to what was effectively a status quo sort of situation from before, that Deontay Wilder will potentially be in a fight with someone that we don't want to see him in with. And obviously this situation, you can sort of forgive them for potentially having to sign on to a fight with the mandatory Dominic Breazeale, because obviously the rematch was cancelled, and that was the fight that fans were looking forward to. But if it is Breazeale, I think that's one of those sort of situations that a lot of fans will just be like, well, it is what it is. And if it's someone else within the rankings there, potentially a Luis Ortiz rematch, or Adam Kovnarski, or Dillian Whyte, or whoever it is next, there will be a bit of a pass for Deontay Wilder, because it's not going to be as high profile a fight as the Tyson Fury fight, and that's was kind of out of his hands, given that was a Tyson Fury led sort of situation with him signing on with ESPN and Top Rank. But after this, what next? Because it raises the question, do we just want to see Deontay Wilder roll through the PBC stable? And I think a lot of fans potentially would say no, because if the Fury fight's not there, then after this fight, because Anthony Joshua already has one together, then Deontay Wilder, I think most fans would want to see that fight try get made. But Deontay Wilder more recently hasn't really shown any interest in that. He's spoken about freezing Joshua out. And obviously with Tyson Fury walking away now and that sort of cancelling the rematch, some of those statements do look a little bit silly. But potentially he could go on fighting PBC stablemates for the next year or two with relative ease. I mean, Kovnatsky and Luis Ortiz are his, within the PBC structure. Who knows what will happen with Dillian Whyte, and actually Dominic Breazeale, he's in the PBC stable too. So you could have a year of fights or a year and a half worth of fights just within the PBC stable. I'm not sure that would keep everyone happy, especially if the prospect of Undisputed was there. But let's face it, the prospect of Undisputed has been there for some time and the deal hasn't got done. Obviously, the offers have slowly gone up to Deontay Wilder and it's now at a 40% split. But even Eddie Hearn, he is seemingly like Top Rank, but a bit of a different style deal, trying to entice Wilder potentially over to DAZN. But I just can't see that happening either. So the deal would be, I think it was $15 million, have a warm-up fight first on DAZN, then fight Anthony Joshua. It'd be effectively the same sort of deal, two-way rematch. Just like in the Top Rank situation, I can't see that happening, even though Wilder says he's a free agent, no TV deal, no promoter. I just can't see it happening. But then that also raises the question, if he's not going to join Top Rank and he won't go over to DAZN, and he just keeps plying his trade with what he's doing within the PBC, no promoter, advised by Al Heyman, fighting on Showtime or potentially Fox, why can't he go anywhere else? There is actually nothing stopping him going anywhere else right now. Part of it for me, I think, would be he's a prideful guy. He is the champion, WBC champion. He doesn't want to be dictated to. I mean, we've seen that before with those earlier Anthony Joshua negotiations from April to June last year. Didn't like being dictated to. And when they sort of ended bitterly, he basically sort of said, it's 50-50 or nothing. Forget about it. You're not going to treat me like this. I don't have to take this fight. Saying, if you don't give me what I want, there will be no fight. And really, that hasn't actually changed. And he didn't engage in negotiations recently with Eddie Hearn. That whole situation, it went dark. There was no negotiations. He was so invested in that Tyson Fury rematch. He was saying, we're going to get this done, and then I'll have more leverage for a potential undisputed fight. But I'm not sure I see a fight right now that gives him any more leverage in negotiations. And if you look at Joshua's situation, he's earning, 25 million pounds or $32 million just fighting Jarrell Miller. That's the estimated figures. And what would Deontay Wilder earn if he's going back to fighting Dominic Breazeale next? $3 million? $4 million max? I mean, there is a bit of a difference. Deontay Wilder can't just fight anyone and it be a mega fight. Joshua can fight almost any of the top contenders and it's still a pretty big deal and earns a lot of money. There is some commercial disparity there, we can't forget that. But why can't Deontay Wilder move elsewhere? And some of it comes down to the pridefulness, which I just mentioned, but also loyalty. He's loyal to Al Heyman, he's loyal to Shelly Finkel, he's loyal to the structure that he's been in and has provided for him. And those involved with him just aren't going to allow Deontay Wilder to cross the other side of the promotional street with either DAZN or Top Rank. Even though there's been a lot of positioning statements saying, there's nothing holding me back from doing any deals anywhere, fighting anywhere, doing what I want. The reality is Wilder is still on a bit of a short leash here. His paymasters, Al Heyman and co., they are not going to allow him just to go anywhere and do anything. And to think otherwise, I think, would be a little naive. And that's why I can't see the rematch with Tyson Fury getting made. It's all these factors that, he's just not going to be leaving his side of the street. He is fighting there. He's on Showtime or potentially Fox. But that is where he sort of, set up shop, and that's where he's campaigning. That's where the first Tyson Fury fight was, Deontay Wilder's first pay-per-view. He is the champ. He is going to be leveraging that. And I think anyone, say if Wilder fights one of these guys that we've talked about, say Dominic Breazeale, upsets him or whatever. Dominic Breazeale's not crossing the street to anywhere else. He will continue to campaign where he's campaigning. And that goes for anyone else within that PBC stable. Even though there's no promoters, they are still going to be staying put and at the direction of Al Heyman and, whoever's running the show over there. They are not going to be moving elsewhere to give any other promoters or broadcasters a leg up. It's a business after all. We've got to remember that. So all the talk and bravado from both sides about politics and, broadcasting deals not affecting anything. Ultimately, it's all talk because it completely affects everything. Politics is massive in boxing. Broadcasting considerations are massive in boxing. And that's why when Frank Warren has previously talked about there's no reason that Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua couldn't fight and BT and Sky split the pay-per-view. That's why I just think, he's just saying that because it sounds good, but the reality is it would never happen. There is no way either side would want to be leaving millions of dollars on the table. Who would do that in business? No one. So, Deontay Wilder will not be joining Top Rank, and I think we can safely say he won't be signing on for any fights with Eddie Hearn on DAZN. So we'll have to see what happens, but I think he'll stay put. He'll keep doing what he's doing. The paychecks may drop, but that is just the reality of the situation. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.